Today's episode brought to you by Summit Professional Education. Unlock your potential with Summit Professional Education, your trusted partner for expert-led courses, flexible learning, and essential CEUs. Elevate your skills today at summiteducation.com. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Npte podcast. This is Will Crane, your host. Thank you so much for joining me as we go through the content you need in order to dominate on test day. So today I've got a practice question for you. This is related to the musculoskeletal system of the exam. As you recall, on test day, the musculoskeletal system will have somewhere between 44 and 54 questions on it. So this is the single largest system on the exam, and it does go through each of the three main content areas, including examination, differential diagnosis, and interventions. So definitely one of the systems you need to spend most of your time on. 44 to 54 questions. This is one of the biggest of the big three systems. Definitely worth spending a bunch of time on. So I do have a practice question for you today, but before I get there, just a quick thank you. Thanks for what you do. I know that as you are preparing for this exam, there's a lot going on in your life, that as you are finishing up school and getting ready for the big day, that really you've got a lot to juggle, a lot on your plate, and thank you for what you do. Thanks for being an awesome clinician and really making it happen so that you can bless not only your life, but the lives of your patients for years and years to come. A quick reminder too, if you want any of our freebies, go to ptfinalexam.com/podcast. That's where you can track down any of our free sessions. We've got ongoing free sessions. You won't want to miss those. So be sure to get first on the list there. Seating is limited at a lot of these free sessions, so you'll not want to miss that. Plus, we've got some cheat sheets and giveaways, things you won't want to miss. Be sure to check that out at ptfinalexam.com/podcast. All right, let's go and dive into our practice question for today. So as per our usual, I will read to you the question, give you about a minute or a moment. When we're doing class, I have students give them about a minute to respond. I'll give you just a moment to pause and ponder on it, and then we'll talk about the answer together. All right, here we go. A patient with lateral elbow tendinopathy will most likely present with which of the following findings? So we have a patient with lateral elbow tendinopathy will most likely present with which of the following findings? 1, pain at the origin of wrist flexors, pain with active finger extension. 2, pain at the origin of wrist flexors, pain with active finger flexion. 3, pain at the origin of the wrist extensors, pain with active finger extension. And 4, pain at the origin of wrist extensors, pain with active finger flexion. So it's a mix and match style question. So we have pain at either the origin of the wrist flexors or extensors, and then pain with active finger flexion or extension. So again, the question is, a patient with lateral elbow tendinopathy will most likely present with which of the following findings? They'll have pain at the origin of the wrist flexors and pain with active finger extension, pain at the origin of the wrist flexors, pain with active finger flexion, pain at the origin of the wrist extensors, pain with active finger extension, and pain at the origin of the wrist extensors, pain with active finger flexion. So as you consider lateral elbow tendinopathy, a lot of times this is called tennis elbow. This is the most common tendinopathy at the elbow. Well, the correct answer here is that you would see pain at the origin of the wrist extensors. So we're talking about the extensor wad, really all of the wrist extensors that have that common bundle up near the lateral epicondyle. Then you would also have pain with active finger extensions. So those long finger extensors, that's commonly referred to as, Mills test, I said that wrong. Maudsley's test where you are testing for active finger extension or resisted middle finger extension. So your driving finger, right? So pain at the origin of the wrist extensors with pain with active finger extension. Both of those are extremely common with lateral elbow tendinopathy, also known as tennis elbow. You'll present with pain, obviously, over the lateral epicondyle and degeneration of that common extensor tendon. And this most commonly presents as pain at the elbow at the wrist extensors, plus pain with active wrist and finger extension. So the common tests you'll see here are Maudsley's test, like I mentioned, that's resisted middle finger extension. Cozen's test, that's where you have resisted pronation and forearm extension. So again, just activating the muscles of the common extensors. And then finally, Mills test. This is a passive test where you are stretching into wrist flexion. By so doing, you are stretching the wrist extensors. So either you're activating the wrist extensors or stretching the wrist extensors, and that's where you get that reproduction of pain. These other answer options, this is a classic example of a mix and match style question. The other answer options just don't have the proper the proper combination of items here. So pain, the correct answer here, pain at the origin of the wrist extensors, and then pain with active finger extension. These are the common findings with lateral elbow tendinopathy or lateral epicondylitis or tennis elbow. A couple of different names for the same thing, where you have, it's almost always overuse of the wrist extensors, very often seen like with tennis, the backhand, or I don't play tennis. So those of you who play tennis, you can know the exact movement that causes the symptom. If I'm not mistaken, it's usually backhand where you're doing the active wrist extension. This is opposite of golfer's elbow or medial tendinopathy, medial epicondylitis, where it's a problem with wrist flexion rather than wrist extension. So all that to say, lateral elbow tendinopathy, I would have you just lock it in that the tennis elbow is related to wrist extension and finger extension. And that's where you see the special tests coming up with, say, Maudsley's test as an example of resisted finger extension as the example. All right, so there you go. There's your practice question for today about lateral elbow tendinopathy. I hope you'll join us for all of our other sessions where we go through tons of practice questions. Be sure to check them all out. Plus, if you haven't yet, leave us a review. Leave us a 5-star review wherever it is you're listening to this podcast, whether it be on Google Play, Apple iTunes, Spotify, all of the places. It's super helpful as we're trying to get the word out. And so with that, we'll bring today to a conclusion. Take good care of yourselves. Will Crane fist bumps all around. Keep a grin on your chin. Happy studies, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks, everyone.
This podcast was sponsored by PT Final Exam, an awesome resource for Npte preparation. From live courses to university cohorts, PT Final Exam has a package to suit everyone's needs. Head over to ptfinalexam.com to see the wide variety of Npte preparation options.